Good morning, Professor. I'm going to explain the TKT Core Module 1. And first of all, it's the TKT, the Module 1 is divided into three different sections. The first one is describing language and language skills. And then that section is divided into six different points. The first point is about grammar, that, as we know, is the structure of a language. We are talking about grammatically form and grammatically function, the content of words and the function of words. In this part, we have to identify if we are the function of a word. If we are talking about a noun, a verb, some adjectives, adverbs, and also if they are pronouns, prepositions, or conjunctions. And this way um, we can we can revise and we can do the test in the part of grammar. The next part is Lexis. The Lexis, well, Alexem is the smallest unit of meaning. Then we have meaning, word formation, collocations, fixed expression, lexical relationships, and cognate. And when we talk about meaning, we can have the notation, figurative, and talking about if the type of meaning we can understand of a word. Then we have word formation. In this case, if we are expected to have, or if we already know how a prefix or a suffix looks like, maybe if it's a word with compounding or our conversion. And also there are collocations that are words that come together in a structure, in a pre-established word order, and fixed. It's like fixed expressions, like idioms that we can understand just watching a phrase because it's not the literal meaning. We have to know and understand some because that words are pre-established and they are we can understand them in a context. Then the functions about the communicative act. In this way, we can understand the words in the phrases, but we need to have a context, or maybe when we are in a conversation, in the part of adjacency pairs that are established phrases or words that are together and we use them in casual and also formal conversation. Well, phonology is the study of some sounds of a language. And we're talking about phonemes and transcriptions, how we can pron- how the words can change if they are stressed or with a different sound. and also the intonation and the stress and tone. Well, about the receptive skills, we we also have reading and listening. In reading, if we read for a purpose, or if we are looking for something special, we can do scanning, skimming, or also intensive reading. And listening and monitoring listening for a gist and intensive listening. These are the receptive skills that skills we develop and we can improve when we are taking a test. And the productive skills are the skills that we can produce. In this way, if we are taking a maybe if the purpose is a transaction of our interaction, if we look for something, if we want to know something about about some topic, or it's just for like interaction, like casual or informal interaction. The second part is about background to language learning, and it's divided also into six sections. The first one is motivation. Eh, the motivation is the willingness to expend effort. There are different types of motivations. The first one, if we it's like a external motivation. It's not about us, but we want to learn English because of maybe we want to obtain a better job or live in another city or something like that. Or and motivation in the classroom is about how we feel in the classroom. And exposure, and then the next point is exposure to language and focus on form. It could be structural, communicative, acquisition, and noticing. Also, the next point is the role of error. If we are talking about a slip or an error, in this way we can make errors by ourselves, or it's something like related to ignorance, or maybe the interference of the first language. And the difference between the language one and the language two learning. There are three different theories that the first one is inattention, that it's about that the first story is about if we were born with the ability to, in this case, to speak a language. If we have it, that theory says that we have the ability since we, because we were born with that ability, and we cannot. It's like that we cannot construct or develop that ability because we were born with that. And it says also that some people were with that, and so some people don't. And the next point is imitation theory, that is about that the children and learn what they hear. So they basically imit what they hear. And the reinforcement theory is about that we construct what we learn in a way that we improve, that we change, and we also make some errors, but we construct and reinforce the language every day. Learner characteristics. Every single learner has different sorry characteristics for learn. And talking about that, some learners are visual, some, or maybe there are like kinesthetic or or visual, or they have to listen something or read something. There are different types of learners, and those learners learn differently with a different speed and also they have different styles and strategies to learn. Also, we have to consider the age difference because it's not the same that children maybe a children acquires faster in a language than a old person or something like that. And also we have to consider the learner needs. If the learners are learning English for we have that for maybe English for a specific purpose or English with no or if they are learning English for maybe for a purpose, in this way, English for a specific purpose or English for no apparent purpose. So we have to know about the language goals and and we have to respond to the needs of them. And finally, the last part of the module one is about background to language teaching. In this part, we have three different like sections. The first one is presentation techniques and introductory activity. Is the lesson about the lesson structures, about the structure they have if they are with a structure of presentation production if the presentation practice and productions or these test teach and test when the professor first um, analyze if they what can do what the students can do before and after knowing something. Also from framing and transition and presentation techniques. It's about how the professor present the materials and the things that they are going to use to teach students. The next one is types of activities and tasks for language and skill development. If we use a task, usually tasks are about us. Maybe, well, they sometimes have a specific outcomes in an order or an structure, and the activities are not in this way are not like measurable, but they the professors check the way students do that activity, the steps, and and the way they um, um, they can resolve that activity, and they have different a different level of control if they are for practice. The practice is with the guide of a teacher, and if they are for assessment, is to check the to measure progress of the students. Both of them have at the end have a feedback from the professor, and that's the important point to assess and to know if the students do the task of the activity in the correct way. In this way, we correct some errors, and also the students learn and make corrections about what they did wrong. And the last point is assessment types and tasks. And we have to know what type of assessment type assessment is going to be checked about the first one is achievement when they evaluate in some extent something that they have learned through after a period of time. A diagnostic is a test that the students take before maybe a course or a class in order that teachers will know how they what they learned previously, or what are the knowledge, what exactly the knowledge they actually have. And a proficiency is test that is taken before like a course. And there are two types: formative assessment or summative. The formative is for help to help learning process, and the summative is to find out what has been learned. Well, in this way is that all about the presentation of the TKT Core Module 1, and those are all the sections and subsections that this module has.